Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. First, I would like to say thank you for being willing to watch this presentation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Pitriani from Class 2B English Education Program at Galuh University. Today, I would like to presentation the result of the summary of the language material evaluation and development subject. The material that will be discussed that are curriculum, syllabus, lesson plan, course book, evaluation and assessment, learning approach, technique, and method. Let's start. The first material we will discuss about curriculum. According to Nonan 2000, curriculum is a very general concept which involves consideration of the whole complex of philosophical, social, and administrative factors which contribute to the planning of an educational program. Curriculum is a set of subjects and educational programs provided by an educational institution that contains lesson plans that will be given to lesson participants in one period of educational level. Curriculum change in Indonesia. There are 4 stages of curriculum change in Indonesia. Number 1, colonial era, Dutch curriculum 1935, and Japanese era curriculum 1942. Number 2, Old Order era, curriculum 1947, 1952, and 1968. Number 3, New Order era, curriculum 1975, 1984, and 1994. And the last, Reform era, curriculum 2004, curriculum 2006, or KTSP, and curriculum 2013. Next. Curriculum 2006 or KTSP, Education Unit Level Curriculum or 2006 curriculum is an operational education curriculum compiled by and implemented in each education unit in Indonesia. Curriculum 2006 is legally mandated by Law Number 20 of 2000 concerning the national education system and the government regulation of the Republic of Indonesia Number 19 of 25 concerning national education standards. While Curriculum 2013 is the applicable curriculum in the Indonesian education system. This curriculum is a curriculum that is still being applied by the government to implement the 2006 curriculum, which has been implemented for approximately 6 years. The 2013 curriculum was revised in 2016 in the core competencies and basic competencies. The 2013 curriculum is currently a nationally applicable curriculum. The 2013 curriculum has 4 aspects of assessment, namely aspect of knowledge, aspects of skills, aspect of attitudes, and behavior. In the 2013 curriculum, especially in learning materials, there are materials that are streamlined and materials that are added. Next, the second material is about syllabus. According to Yulelawati 2004, syllabus is a set of plans and implementation of learning arrangements and things that are made for a system that contains all components that have a relationship with the aim of mastering basic competencies. Syllabus components. The third component of syllabus, identity. This section includes the name of the subject, education unit, class, and semester. Core competence, graduate competencies that must be possessed by students at its grade level or program that form the basic for basic competency development. Basic competencies. Basic competencies is the ability to achieve core competencies that must be obtained by students through learning. Learning materials. Learning materials are the main learning materials that students must learn as a means of achieving competence and which will be assessed using an assessment instrument that is based on learning achievement indicators. Components. Next is indicator. Competency achievement indicators are measures, characteristics that describe the achievement of a basic competence. Character value includes value of character in relation to God, with oneself, with others, and with the environment. Learning activities. Learning activities are forms or general patterns of learning activities to be carried out. Learning strategies include face-to-face and non-face-to-face activities. Time allocation. Time here is an estimate of how long it takes students to study the material that has been determined, not the length of time students do assignment in the field of or in their daily life. Learning resources. Resources or materials are just used in teaching. Assessment. Assessment is a series of activities to obtain, analyze, and interpret data from students carried out systematically and continuously so that it becomes meaningful information in decision making. Next, example of syllabus. This is an example of 10th grade English syllabus for semester 1 and semester 2. Next, the third material is about lesson plan or so-called RPP. According to Meliasa 2007, lesson plan is a plan for describing procedures and teaching management to achieve one or more basic competency standards and described in the syllabus. Lesson plan components that are identity, competence standards, basic competencies, indicators, learning goals, learning materials, learning methods, learning media, learning activities, learning resources, and evaluation. Example of lesson plan. This is an example of a 10th grade English lesson plan for semester 1 and semester 2. Next. And the next material is about course book, from to analysis to first glance evaluation. I analyzed the 10th grade English textbook of senior high school. This book contains 4 languages skills including listening, speaking, reading, and writing. This book has 15 chapters. Chapter 1, the topic is about talking about self. Chapter 2, congratulating and complimenting. Chapter 3, what are you going to do today? Chapter 4, which one is your best getaway? Chapter 5, let's visit Niagara Falls. Chapter 6, the topic is about giving announcement. Chapter 7, the Wright brothers. Chapter 8, my idol. Chapter 9, the Battle of Surabaya. Chapter 10, B.J. Habibie. Chapter 11, Chutnya Den. Chapter 12, Isumbasi. Chapter 13, about Malin Kunda. Chapter 14, about strong wine. And the last, chapter 15, the topic is about you have got a friend. I choose one chapter for my analysis, which is chapter 6, about giving announcement. This chapter teaches about giving information to the public and have 4 language skills, including listening, speaking, reading, and writing. After studying this chapter, students are expected to be able to number 1, explain the social function, text structure, and linguistic elements in the text announcement about school activities correctly according to the content it used. Number 2, explaining information about school activities by paying attention to school function, text structure, and linguistic elements in the announcement text spoken and written correctly according to the context of its use. And the last, makes announcement about school activities using social function structure, text structure, and linguistic elements of the text according to the context it uses. Next, the material is about evaluation and assessment. Evaluation, according to Gernland and Lin, evaluation is a systemic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information to determine the extent to which pupils are achieving instructional objectives. The word evaluation refers to the act or process of determining the value of something. Assessment. According to Fenton, 1996, Assessment is the collection of relevant information that may be relied on making decisions. Different. The difference between evaluation and assessment is evaluation focuses on grades and might reflect classroom components other than course content and mastery level. An evaluation can be used as a final review to gauge the quality of instruction. It's product oriented. This means that the main question is what's been learned. In short, evaluation is judgmental. While assessment is the systemic process of documenting and using empirical data to measure knowledge, skills, attitude, and beliefs. By taking the assessment, teachers try to improve the student's path towards learning. Next, types of evaluation. True and false. True and false question consists of a statement that requires a true and false response. There are other variants of the true and false format as well, such as yes or no, correct or incorrect, and agree or disagree, which is often used in surveys. Effective true and false e-learning questions are factual-based rather than opinion-oriented and are designed to quickly and efficiently test learner knowledge about a particular idea or concept. Number 2, multiple choice. Multiple choice is question or assignment whose answers are chosen from more than 2 alternatives. Most of the alternative answers range between 4 and 5. Multiple choice test is the type of objective test that is most widely used by teachers. Multiple choice question consists of a question or explanation about an incomplete understanding, and to complete it, one must choose one consisting of an explanation stem section and possible answer or alternative option section. And the last, essay. An essay test is an assessment technique that requires students to truly respond to a question or prompt by developing, organizing, and writing an original composition. The purpose of an essay test is to assess students' ability to construct a logical, cohesive, and persuasive writing piece. Next, material, that is learning approach, learning technique, and learning method. Learning approach. An approach in teaching is the idea or principle of how to view in determining learning activities. Rusman 2018, who argues that the learning approach is the first stage of forming an idea in viewing and determining the object of study. An approach gives rise to methods, the way of teaching something, which use classroom activities or technique to help students learn. Approach in teaching must be plain and flexible, adapted to the needs of teaching materials. Approach in teaching can be broadly divided into 2 types, namely teacher-centered and student-centered. Learning technique. The learning technique is the teacher's way of delivering teaching materials that have been prepared in the method, based on the approach adopted. The technique used by the teacher depends on the ability of the teacher to find reason or tactics so that the learning teaching process can run smoothly and work well. In determining this learning technique, the teacher needs to consider the classroom situation, environment, student condition, student characteristic, and other conditions. Therefore, the learning techniques used by the teacher may vary. For the same method, different learning techniques can be used depending on these various factors. From the description, it can be said that the learning technique is the method used by the teacher in the implementation of teaching and learning activities to obtain optimal results. The last, learning method. Method in teaching and learning process is the way used by teachers to prepare everything that is prepared for teaching and learning needs to meet the goals to be achieved. Iskandar Wasid and Sunindar 2011 would say that the learning method is a systemic way of working to facilitate the implementation of various learning activities to achieve the desired or determined goals. It can be concluded that the learning method is a systemic way of working that facilitates the implementation of learning in the form of specific implementation of concert steps. so that an effective learning process occurs to achieve a certain goal, such as positive change in students. Next, is it important for teachers to analyze the evaluation result? Yes, learning evaluation is very important to do to find out whether or not a learning system implemented by a teacher is effective. Because if the teacher does not conduct an evaluation, it is the sum for the teacher to have no progress in designing the learning system. Analyzing the result of student evaluation is also a very important thing for teachers to do. Why? Because in order to diagnose the strengths and weaknesses of students in participating in learning activities, the advantages of students can be used as a basis for teachers to provide further guidance and development, while their weaknesses can be used as a reference to provide assistance or guidance. And the last, that is criteria of good evaluation. Here are 6 criteria of good evaluation that are validity, which can measure the characteristics of change in student behavior in accordance with learning, and reliability, which shows the consistency of the feature of the result obtained even though several evaluations have been carried out. The third, objectivity, namely the result of the assessment reflect the condition of students' abilities as they are not affected by elements of the assessor's subjectivity. And next, representative, namely the existence of balance and representation of each goal and subject matter tested. And the next, fairness, which is to present problems fairly, not trapping and not containing trapping words. And the last, practical, which is effective and efficient, easy to implement, process, and interpret. Okay, that's all from me for my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.